Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jennifer Mastery. So I just wanted to talk about horses, animals, and how things work for me and how I feel when I get information from them. So for me, it's like I'll just be standing there right next to a horse or a dog, and it's like the information just flows through. So I can just feel when like their mood is changing. I can feel when it's like my horse is like, I don't want to ride today. I get that feeling from him right away. I feel when he's stressed. I feel when like today, here's a quick little, I guess, little thing that happened. So I had him on cross ties and I was just feeling like the stress coming off of him, and then all of a sudden like I get this idea in my head, which is not even an idea, it's more or less like telling me that there's thunderstorms coming and this is what he's feeling. So not even having to go in and to just like really sit here and dig for information, that's how the information comes. It's like just a knowing off the bat. And it's just like you can read a room with people. Well, guess what? I can read a room of animals. It's like I just walk in there and I can feel the tenseness of the dogs and how they feel. It's the same thing as if you were at a party and you're walking in and you feel like the uncomfortable person, okay? That's how I feel on a day-to-day basis. It's like I just walk in and I know. And, I've talked to many horses. I've talked to lesson horses. I've talked to my own horse. I've talked to people's horses. The one thing I can tell you when I'm around lesson horses, the one thing I feel like I get is they don't really know that they're a lesson horse. Like they just think that this is their life. Like they don't kind of associate having another life, but they do at the same time. Like some of them will show me, be like, oh yeah, when I was younger, I used to jump really high. I was, well taken care of. I was at another barn. I was, at a ritzy barn, things like that. That's what they'll tell me. Or they'll say to me, this is the most common thing I hear, is my body hurts. One horse wanted to tell me, he's like, I'm like an accordion. He's like, I'm just so tight. And he's like, my back hurts. He's like, I just want to lay down all the time. That's what he told me. It's sad, but these are things I hear. And then like another thing, I think another horse was telling me, he's like, listen, he's like, I do not like people on my mouth. He's like, I don't mind going around and trotting or cantering, but I don't want people on my mouth. That's another big thing. I noticed this is the most interesting thing, but every horse wants to tell me which side they're balanced on. Across the board, they all want to say, oh, I'm balanced on this side, I'm balanced on that, I'm not balanced on this side. It's like a big conversation thing. Another thing I noticed is they all like to talk about the aches and pains. It's so funny, or something they dislike. It's more the dislikes than the likes half the time. Dogs, they actually are pretty funny too, and cats. The other day I was having a session with my mentor, and what happened is her cat actually came through while she was giving me, not a reading, but more or less guidance for my own life. And the cat comes through and he's like, I just want to tell you that I don't like that other cat that you're feeding. You need to stop because it's upsetting everything and we don't like it. So it's pretty funny, you know what I mean? So that happens too. Sometimes like, when I'm just sitting there and people's animals just want to show up and they just want to, say hello. Specifically now, my old dog is showing up. That's another thing of my gifts, is to kind of I see the ones who passed on. That's another gift I have. He's actually, it's pretty funny. He's sitting right here. He's just showing me that he's here. And sometimes in the summer when I take my dogs for a walk, he decides to come on the walk with us, and he actually likes to be the leader of the whole pack. I mean, I know he's there. Nobody else knows, but I know he's physically there. My horse, Tink, I love him. Let's get back to him. So he is pretty funny himself. So he has this whole manly, this way of being where I'm the tough guy and this, that, but he's really soft and sweet inside, and he's so lovable. If you can just, take his cues and figure out how he works. And I don't ride him much. I only ride him 3 times a week, sometimes 2. It depends on my schedule and, how much time I have. So that being said, he has this feeling about him that, I've worked so much in my life that, why am I sitting here? I've done enough. Why am I sitting here, riding you around the ring? I should be relaxing. Well, unfortunately, I apologize that, you've had a tough life. You did a lot of riding. You did a lot of things, but, we still have a contract here, bud. So we have to keep on going. So, he'll give me cues like that, it's pretty funny. Also today I had my son with me, my daughter Cadence, I'm sure you've seen her, and we're all in the paddock and we're trying to brush him, and he typically only likes one person at a time because that's just how he is. I feel like it's just overstimulation for him. So I always back off and tell one person at a time. So when I go over there and this is all happening, I can just feel he's angry, and I'm sitting there looking at him because I actually can communicate with them as well, the animals. I'm looking at him can you please stop? Can you just please stop? Can you just get over the kids being here and everything going on? And he's trying to bite me in the air. Turn his face and bite me. He's really not, but it's just he's showing me I'm angry right now. And second of all, I'm going to eat, and you think you're doing all this, and who's riding me? It better not be them, better be you, because I don't want them. And this, and he doesn't have a lot of patience. But he's just a cranky old man. That's the best way to describe it. He's just really super cranky. There's been times where one time my daughter was on him, and my daughter sometimes does not have the best energy. And Tink is really, really amazing in the sense where he can read energy really, really well. And I think that's why we're a pair. But so sometimes she'll get on him, and sometimes she's just not having a good day. Her energy is not where it's supposed to be. And that one day it really wasn't, and they just were not communicating at all. He just wasn't happy with her energy. And I know I've said this before, but when your energy is bad, the horses can read it because we're sitting right on their heart chakra. So it just doesn't work. So she was on his back, and boy, he never rears up or bucks. And boy, it wasn't high rears because he can't do that. But boy, he was doing it. He was doing tiny little rears, rearing up, just jumping off the floor and just doing tiny little bucks. I'm like, Cadence, you have to jump down because he's super, super angry. I could feel it from here, you know what I mean? And she's like, why mom? I want to continue. I'm like, no. He is super, super angry right now. So that being said, I had her dismount. I actually got on and the only reason why I got on is just because I wanted to show him that, you can't behave like that. Maybe that was a bunch of ego. I agree. But I just wanted to, show him that we don't do these kind of behaviors to get out of work. So long story short is, he did the same thing with me. I think he reared me once or twice, and then he bucked a little bit, but, I got him moving, and we had a great ride, and it was all done. So after that, I just read into him, and he was like, you know what? I'm really sorry I just did that to you. But I was really angry, and I was just mad. He's like, we have no problems. I have no problem with being with you and everything. I was just really angry. I just didn't want to deal with her energy, and I was just a little frustrated to begin with. So as much as we think animals cannot communicate, they do. They have so much to say. I would say they're a lot different than people in the sense where like a person is more like, oh no, that's not me. I'm giving the person the reading and I'm telling them, well, this is you. Oh no, no, it's not me. I'm like, really? That is you. Oh no, 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 it's me. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. You know what I mean? But the animal is so direct and so simple that when they say something, it's gold. It's right from the heart. You know what I mean? And it's not sugar coated. It's not bullshit. It's exactly how they feel. And I find with people, when I work with people, that, you know, at times they just they don't want to agree to something, or they just don't want to, you know, believe that as their truth. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. But, you know, when it comes to owning stuff, I just, you know, I prefer working with animals. And even since I've been a kid, you know, I've always had this thing with animals where I was able to read them. And I didn't really realize this until I got older. And I stumbled onto this gift. You know, at first, it wasn't just this gift of animals. At first, it was a gift of people. And it started where, like, I would just pick up a picture or something like that, and I was able to read it. So it just slowly came in like that, you know. But then over time of just reading people, you know, somebody suggested, oh, well, you know, you can read other things. Like, you can read animals, you can read plants, trees, and things like that. So I kind of, you know, started to just dabble. And that's where, you know, the whole animal thing came in. And here we are now. But, you know, animals are just, they're just like us. Like, they have so many things that they want to tell us. You know, even my dog, I have a black lab. Every day she sits there after I feed her. She sits right next to me, puts a paw on me, starts barking hysterical. I could be on the phone and she's barking hysterical. And I read into her, and she does it not because she's hungry, because she's bored and she wants my attention. And it's nothing about, like, you know, like serious attention. It's just like, oh, I want your attention and I'm bored, you know. And she's like low man on the totem pole. So, like, she feels like, okay, I'm just going to bother her in the morning because, you know, I'm bored. I got nothing to do. Like, normally she'll go out and sit outside, but she's like, you know, it's not warm enough yet. I'm going to sit here and drive her nuts. And that's what she does every single day. And it's became to the point where, like, it's a habit. It's a bad habit. And, you know, I tell her all the time, like, this is not how we act. But she just wants to do that. So just validating that, and sometimes talking to our animals is all they need. You know, I've found that most horses, sometimes, like, their energy will not be good, and then all of a sudden I'll have a conversation with their owners and it's right back up. Because once you validate how they feel, the horse hears it, their soul hears it, and then, like, they're fine. They just want to be validated, and they just want things to change, and they want to be heard, they want to be appreciated, and they just want to know that they have a loving family. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this, like, really helps you in understanding how I do things, how it works for me, what a session with me would look like. So let's just talk about that since we're on here. A session with me is about 20 minutes. And the only reason why I say 20 minutes is because typically I don't need it much more than 20 minutes, you know. We will do a banter back and forth. I mean, if you want to ask me a question right off the bat, and, you know, I will ask, you know, obviously get the answer for you reading into your pet, and I'll tell you why they're doing that behavior right away. I can definitely do that, or I can just give you, you know, a reading as to what they have to say in general. But it's important for us to have that talking back and forth, because the more I tell you what's going on and you're validating that, the more, you know, it flows, and we can, you know, really get into the nitty-gritties and what's important. I have no problem sometimes, like, going over, if you have an extra question after 20 minutes, got a couple of questions, it's perfectly fine. I typically do my sessions 95% on Zoom is my sessions, 95%. I send you a Zoom link, we record it, you can look at it again, or I do barn visits. You would have to go on my website for that and check which towns I do. It's a little bit more expensive because I actually have to travel, but I don't mind. I know I've already done some barns already. If you have multiple horses there, we can also talk about that. You can send me an email. But thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.